Hello everyone, welcome to Kingdom Treasures. I'm so glad you could join us today. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Today, we have a fascinating topic to explore. Why did Satan fight hard for the body of Moses after his death? This story is deeply rooted in biblical history and carries significant spiritual lessons for us today. Before we dive in, let's set the stage with some biblical context. The story we're discussing takes place after the death of Moses, a pivotal figure in the Bible. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, received the Ten Commandments, and guided them through the wilderness for 40 years. Yet his death and subsequent burial sparked an extraordinary celestial conflict. Understanding this story is crucial for several reasons. First, it helps us grasp the importance of avoiding idolatry. Throughout history, people have had a tendency to worship created things rather than the Creator. This story underscores how even something as sacred as Moses' body could become an object of worship and lead people astray. When people elevate created things over the Creator, they deviate from true worship and risk falling into spiritual traps. The Israelites, for example, might have been tempted to venerate the body of Moses, given his profound influence and leadership. By hiding Moses' body, God ensured that this potential stumbling block was removed, reaffirming the focus on divine reverence rather than human hero worship. Moreover, this account highlights God's ultimate authority and the role of Archangel Michael. Michael's actions in this story serve as a powerful reminder of the spiritual battles that occur beyond our perception and how even mighty beings defer to God's sovereignty. Through Michael's intervention, we see a clear demonstration of divine sanctions and authority in the spiritual realm. It also teaches us about the hierarchy of spiritual beings and the respect and deference they must show to God's commands. The story of Michael contending with Satan over the body of Moses illustrates that even in matters of great significance, angelic beings act under divine orders and not their own will. This episode not only emphasizes the vigilance required to maintain pure worship, but also offers a profound insight into the unseen conflicts between good and evil. The struggle over Moses' body symbolizes the ongoing conflict in the spiritual realm, and the lengths to which forces of darkness will go to disrupt God's plans. Satan's effort to claim Moses' body indicates a deeper strategy to provoke idolatry and distract God's people from their true worship. However, the intervention by Archangel Michael reaffirms God's control over such situations, demonstrating that even the most subtle and hidden forms of temptation cannot prevail against his authority. By understanding this, we gain a deeper appreciation for the protection we receive and the importance of staying steadfast in our faith. Let's start with the death of Moses. According to Deuteronomy 34:1-5, Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, which is opposite Jericho. There God showed him the promised land that he would not enter. Moses died there in Moab, as the Lord had said. What happens next is quite unique. God personally buried Moses in a valley in Moab, but he concealed the location of his tomb. Deuteronomy 34:6 tells us that, to this day, no one knows where his grave is. This act of God hiding Moses' tomb was significant and set the stage for an intense spiritual confrontation. Now let's move on to what happened after Moses' burial. According to Jude 1:9, Satan desired Moses' body and contended with Archangel Michael over it. Satan's goal was clear. He wanted to use Moses' body to tempt people into idolatry. Imagine this scene, a celestial battle between Michael and Satan over a physical body. Despite his power and authority as an archangel, Michael did not bring a railing accusation against Satan, but simply said, "The Lord rebuke you." This phrase emphasizes that even powerful beings like Michael rely on God's authority in spiritual matters. So why was Satan so interested in Moses' body? One word: idolatry. Throughout history, humans have shown a propensity to worship created things rather than the Creator. This tendency is seen in how relics and monuments can easily become objects of veneration. Moses was an extraordinary figure. He spoke directly with God, performed miracles, and led an entire nation out of slavery. his significance in the annals of religious history is undeniable. Possessing his body would have given Satan a potent tool to lead people astray. Imagine if people had access to Moses' remains. How easy it would be for them to start venerating his body instead of focusing on God. The potential for spiritual misguidance would be immense. Moses' body could have become a focal point for pilgrimages and rituals that detract from worshiping God. The allure of having a tangible physical connection to such an important figure could easily shift the attention from the Creator to the created, which is exactly what Satan would have aimed for. Historically, we're aware that objects and places associated with significant religious figures often take on a life of their own. Cathedrals, shrines, and relics often become central to people's spiritual lives, sometimes overshadowing the teachings and principles those figures stood for. The challenge would have been particularly striking with Moses, given his pivotal role and the myriad ways people seek to physically express their faith. Ultimately, the possession of Moses' body would have been a shortcut for Satan to deceive many, pulling focus from God's commandments and teachings. It's a reminder of just how vigilant one must be to ensure that faith and worship remain directed at their true and rightful recipient, God. Moses wasn't just any prophet. He was the prophet who delivered God's law to his people. His leadership and legacy were unparalleled. If Satan had succeeded in acquiring Moses' body, it could have distorted his legacy and led many into idol worship. By hiding Moses' tomb, God ensured that his people would not fall into this trap. The focus remained on God's law and his promises rather than on a physical location or object. Now let's talk about Archangel Michael and his role in this story. Michael is known as a warrior against evil spirits, often depicted as leading God's armies against the forces of darkness. In Jude 1:9, we see Michael confronting Satan over Moses' body. What's remarkable here is Michael's response to Satan. Despite having immense power, Michael did not rebuke Satan on his own authority, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." This shows that even archangels operate under God's authority and serve his will. Michael's actions offer valuable lessons for us today. First, they emphasize the importance of relying on God's authority in spiritual battles. No matter how strong or capable we may feel, true power comes from God alone. Second, Michael's humility and obedience are exemplary. Even though he had every reason to assert his own power against Satan, he chose to defer to God's judgment. This teaches us about humility and recognizing our place within God's grand design. As we wrap up today's video, I encourage you to reflect on your own tendencies toward idolizing created things. Are there aspects of your life where you might be placing too much importance on objects or people rather than focusing on God? If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to Kingdom Treasures. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay blessed.